All right, let's complete the square. All right, so find the standard form of each equation by completing the square. Then identify each conic. I can already tell I'm going to need more room. Okay. So read off what I have. So I don't have to flip back. So what was it? Is that it? Okay. All right, so I'm going to complete the square on this. So the first thing I'm going to do is get all your x terms together, all your y terms together. So I'm going to have x squared plus 8x, so those are my x's, plus y squared minus 10y, so those are my y's. And then I'm going to get my number on the other side. Okay, so you're always going to start these ones like that. Okay, and if you remember when we complete the square, we're trying to find a number that goes right here in this red box so that it's a perfect square, so that I can write it as something squared. So when you factor, it's the same thing times itself. All right, same thing here. I'm trying to find something in the blue box. Okay, once I add it to one side, I'm going to add it to the other side of the equation as well. All right, so when we complete the square, I always do b over 2 squared. So my b value for my x's is 8. So I'm going to take 8 divided by 2 squared, which is 4 squared, so I get 16. So 16 goes in that box right there. Okay, so I'm going to have x squared plus 8x plus 16 plus, now I complete the square on the second one. So on the y's. So do b divided by 2 squared. So I'm going to have negative 10 divided by 2 squared is negative 5 squared, which is 25. So 25 goes in that box right there. So I'm going to get y squared minus 10y. My pen freaked out. Plus 25 equals, now before I just had 8, but you're always trying to keep your equation balanced. So if you added 16 and you added 25, you need to add 16 and add 25. So that's why I did those little boxes on this side too. Oh, I wrote 28. See, told you it's hard to talk and write. All right, so I have x squared plus 8x plus 16. So if I factor that, it's x plus 4 times x plus 4. So it's x plus 4 squared. Remember when we first talked about complete the square, I always said it's the number you had when you divided by 2, so before squaring. So 8 divided by 2 was 4. All right, on this one I have y minus 5 squared equals, I think it's 49, is that right? 49. So what is it? What circle? Your center of your circle is negative 4, 5. Your radius is 7. Okay. You could have used your chart. You saw that A was 1 and C was 1. So the number in front of x squared was 1. The number in front of y squared was 1. Since they were the same thing and the same sign, it's a circle. All right, next. Okay, this one is a little bit harder. Okay, so put your x's together. Put your y's together. Put your number on the other side. Okay, so what makes this one harder? You could divide by 5, but it's still going to be kind of a hard problem. You could divide by 5. Do you see what she's saying? Okay, but basically, I think Jasmine just doesn't like that there's a 5 in front of her x squared, because when that happens, you can't complete the square. It always has to be 1x squared, 1y squared in order to complete the square. Okay, so we're gonna pull out the 5 to the front of parentheses. Okay, and then we're going to pull out the 20 in front of parentheses for the y's. See how this is going to work? Okay, now we're going to complete the square. So now when I complete the square, when I do my b over 2 squared, I get 6 divided by 2 squared, which is 3 squared, so it's 9. That means 9 goes right in there. Okay, for the other one, I'm going to do 2 divided by 2 squared. So I get 1 squared, which is 1. So that means 1 goes in there. And I always need to balance my equation. So I added 9 and I added 1, so I'm going to add 9 and add 1 on the right side, right? No. What am I really adding? Yes. So you're really adding 45. Because 9 times 5, right? And you really added 20. So that means over on this side you need to add 45 and add 20. So don't forget that you had those numbers out front. So I have 5, and then I have parentheses. If I factored it, it'd be x plus 3 times itself, so x plus 3 squared, plus 20 times y plus 1 squared equals 80. What are you guys thinking it is? There's a plus sign, so it's either a circle or an ellipse. It's an ellipse, right? Because they aren't the same number. You don't have 5 and 5 or 20 and 20. All right, so divide by 80, because we want it, for an ellipse, we want it to be set equal to 1. So when I divide by 80, can you guys do this part in your head? 5 over 80. It's 1 over 16. Plus 20 over 80, you can definitely do that one in your head. 4 on the bottom equals 1. So when it's ellipse, the center of the ellipse is -3, -1. Your a value. Now notice for an ellipse, you could have these in either order. Like you could have had the y squared first. So be careful in the ellipse. What's a? A is 4. It's the bigger one. And since a is underneath the x value, that's telling you how far you go right and left from the center. I drew that really big. So that means that you're going out further right and left than you are going up and down. So it's a horizontal ellipse, right? So it's horizontal. Yeah, it's a 4. All right, and then b is 2. Okay, so you're going up and down 2, and you're going right and left more than that, 4. So it's going to be a nice horizontal ellipse like that. Okay, this all makes sense? That's the last one, right?